All right, welcome to True Talk. Our special guest today is Aphrodite Lalai.
Yes, sir.
Did I get that right?
Yes, you did.
Well, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. On short notice, by the way, we did just message you a couple hours ago. You want to come in and do a podcast? Here you are.
Here
so
I am.
Appreciate that. You've been with us for a couple years now, right? Now, your background prior to insurance, did you ever do any sales?
No, never.
No, never. And, I mean, you've I don't know if you came out the gate swinging, but I know right now, last month you helped about 60 families. Is that right?
Yes.
Is that a top month for you? Is that about average? Is that what you normally do?
About average.
Yeah, got it. No sales experience. You worked at a bank for a while?
Yes.
Yeah, what'd you do at the bank?
I was just one of the supervisors there. I mostly did the vault, the teller line, and loans, things like that.
Got it. How long were you there for?
Ooh, 6 years.
Did you like it?
No.
No. Okay. From there, did you get into nursing?
Yeah, I was in nursing school at the same time.
Yeah.
And I was also working nursing at nighttime.
Okay.
And doing the bank during the daytime.
Got it. And how long were you a nurse for?
A couple years.
Yeah. Did you enjoy that?
I did. I loved it.
Yeah.
But in 2020, then things changed.
Got it. Okay. So you're out of work?
I just wasn't enjoying it anymore.
Okay. Yeah. A lot of new restrictions, the whole
Yeah.
deal. Got it. And now you're not from here originally. You're born in Greece, right?
Correct.
You were 9 when you came to the States?
Yeah, I was 9 years old.
Yeah. What was that like?
Ooh, crazy. I actually grew up in a small island in Greece.
Okay.
And my dad came home one day and was like, "We're moving halfway across the world."
With no notice.
No, nothing at all.
Yeah.
So my parents on New Year's Eve, they were drunk and they just made a bet that they would apply for the lotto to come here. Because my uncle had been trying to come to the United States for a decade.
Yeah.
And he always got declined.
Okay.
My mom was like, "I bet you if I'll do, I'll get it." It was, oh my God, they just went, it was midnight. I remember they went upstairs, used the computer. They applied as joke. March came and they got approved.
Wait, so they applied on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
And it takes 3 months to
God
find out.
knows. They forgot about that they even did it. So my grandmother called and they were like, "You guys have a paper here, something about going to the United States."
Yeah.
They went, picked it up. My dad came home and he was like, "Pack up, we're leaving."
Wow.
Yeah. And we had a beautiful home in Greece. We lived on the beach. I mean,
Yeah.
3 bedrooms, 2 kitchens, inside, outside. What I thought back then was, perfect life.
Yeah.
And 5 suitcases.
Man. So at 9, you're in what, 4th grade
Yeah,
maybe?
4th or 5th
So you got
grade.
friends, you're going to school, and then it's just, hey, we're leaving.
Literally.
What did you think?
It was insane. So my mom was like, "This is your suitcase. You guys get to pick what you want."
Yeah.
And now I'm contemplating, am I taking clothes or am I taking my toys? So imagine being 9 now and having to make those decisions.
Yeah.
And I remember it was scary because people were walking in and out of our house, family, friends, strangers, taking our furniture, motorcycles, cars. They just emptied out the house.
Wow.
It was insane.
And you guys didn't have any family here yet?
We had a couple friends. They had set us up with an apartment.
Okay.
And when we first moved here, we ended up being moved into a studio apartment in Waterbury.
Wow.
And we lasted there about 6 months. Thank God my parents put 2 and 2 together. And
Yeah. So a house on an island in Greece to a studio apartment in Waterbury.
Yeah,
Why Waterbury?
that's just where they lived. And we
Yeah.
were a family of 5. I have 2 sisters. I'm the middle
Okay.
child.
Got it. Wow. What was that like?
Scary.
Yeah. And you didn't speak English yet, right?
No,
How long did it take you to learn English?
about a year
Yeah. Wow.
fluently.
Yeah. And then from Waterbury, where'd you end up after that?
In Bristol,
Yeah. So you grew up in Connecticut. Well, grew up, but when you came
Yeah.
to the States, you were in Connecticut.
always in Connecticut.
Got it. What did your parents do for a living?
Well, back home, my parents were business owners,
Yeah.
but here, my father is a mechanic. He's been a mechanic his whole life.
Oh, okay.
And my mom just ended up, having cleaning jobs, things like that.
Yeah.
Now she works at a hospital, but
Got it.
she does other things. So,
Did you eventually enjoy living here? How long did that take?
a couple years. After a couple years, I started building my personality. Once high school hit, then I was,
Yeah.
I was.
Got it. Got it. So fast forward a little bit. You're at the bank. You're getting into nursing. 2020 happens. How did you find out about us or insurance? Did you join us right away? Did you go to another company?
No, so I've never been in sales. I've never done life insurance before this.
Yeah.
I had a client at the bank that used to work for Family First Life part-time.
Oh, okay.
And he was like, "Oh, you should do this. You're very driven." And I had zero desire in sales. I've always looked at salespeople like, "Oh my God,
Yeah.
you guys live off of commission. I need stability."
Yeah.
and I ignored it for like a year and a half. And then one day I just needed a change, and I just got on a Zoom. The upline that I had at the time was like, just get to convention.
Okay.
So I booked a flight. I went to convention, and that's when everything. I wasn't even contracted by the time I got to convention. I think I had just passed my exam.
So you went from not knowing anything about sales, not wanting to do sales, to just one day getting tired. No, you were still at the bank, or you were
Nursing.
You were nursing full
I was
time.
exhausted. I was working overnights. The pay was crappy, and it was.
So you got burnt out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Did you look anywhere else before insurance, or you came straight back here?
No, I just did it.
Yeah. And then, so who talked to you about convention?
The upline that I had at the time.
Yeah. What did you think when he said you had to get to this event? Because this was in Miami, right?
Yeah, it was Miami, 2022, I think.
Yeah.
And I just got there. She kept forcing it, and she was like, just get to convention, you'll understand. And I did, and I didn't even know, she's no longer with the company, but I didn't even know who my uplines were at the time. I just flew in, and I was like, hey, you guys are my uplines. I'm Afro. Nice to meet you. And then I kind of put two and two together of how the lead system needed to work. So I worked super, super hard for like 4 or 5 months straight. I stacked up. I sold my fun car that I had. And I had a Nissan 350Z.
Oh, nice.
It's my baby.
Yeah.
I used to take it to car shows and go crazy.
So you sold that for work, for the business?
Yes. Yeah. I sold that, and that's how I started.
Wow. So you're at this event, not knowing what to expect, right? Have you ever been to a convention at all?
No, never.
So just go down. Was the first time in Miami?
Yes.
So go down to Miami. This is the one at the big stadium. You go to the event. What did you think, after like a day or two?
Just hearing everyone speak and seeing that this is a real thing. Because, I mean, you could watch it on TV, podcasts. I remember I called my mom the second day, and I was like, I'm not going back to seeing any of my friends. I changed everything, like working out, waking up early, meditating. Yeah. All of that. It was insane.
Now, were you licensed yet or no?
I had just got licensed.
Okay.
Maybe a week before that.
A week before the event. Yeah. But you weren't even contracted yet.
No. Zero contracts.
Never dialed, never met with anyone, just getting going. What was that like the first time getting on the phone? Because now, did you start virtual and telesales, or were you in the home at first?
I was in home.
Okay.
I showed up here. I posted the convention. Someone from FFL reached out to me on Facebook, and he was like, oh, you're from CT. Meet me downstairs. So I went downstairs, and he was like, yeah, we go to an office in Uncasville. I didn't even know where this office was. I had zero idea.
Where were you living at the time?
Bristol.
Bristol still.
But I still had zero idea. Podcast, just learning how to door knock, and it seemed super scary. From there, I just showed up to the office. I came upstairs, and I was like, hi, my name's Aphrodite. Can you guys just walk me through where do
train me?
I didn't even know how to log into ILC, buy leads, nothing. Wow. And that's where I met Eric Schmidt, and he kind of just set me up with Nadia and got me the help I needed.
Yeah. So did you dial that day?
No, I ended up just watching people dial.
What did you think when you first heard them on the phone?
I thought they were crazy. I was like, this is what you guys do on a daily basis? I thought it was insane. It seemed terrifying, but about a week later, I started getting on the phones myself. Yeah. And
what was your first time on the phone like?
It was rough.
Yeah.
It was so rough. I stuttered. I was speaking way too fast. People were like, I don't even understand what you're saying. Can you please slow down?
Yeah.
I probably sounded like an idiot on the phone. And
what did you think after that? Did you think, man, I'm not going to be able to do this?
I definitely thought that.
Really? Yeah.
Yes. I thought I probably wanted to quit about 1 million times in my head.
Why didn't you?
Because at that point, I had already quit everything else, and I had nothing.
So this was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to go back to working 9 to 5. I absolutely hated the job I was in. And I remember my older sisters, she was like, oh, come meet me at Dad's. And they were all like, you're crazy. Do not do this. Like, please do not quit your job. Wow. And I was like, I'm doing it. And my dad was like, he just looked at her. He was like, she's going to do it. This is what Afro does. Like, he was like, if he messes it up, just let her mess it up. Yeah. And
So he supported you?
Not really.
Not really?
Not in the beginning. No. My mom.
Your mom did?
Yes. Every time I have ever messed it up, like even with leads, and she's always like, you got this. Tell me what you need. Do you need to buy more leads? Whatever you need.
Yeah. When did you sell your car?
Oh, I started full time at the end of September.
Okay.
I sold my car in like August.
Yeah.
I had just moved into a brand new apartment. I had just went through a breakup of like 8 years, and it was a lot. So I had quit my job. I had went through a breakup, moved to a new apartment, and I was just like, all right, this is what we're doing.
This is all in 22.
Yeah.
So left your job, joined us, struggled in the beginning, went through a breakup, got your own place, and now you're like, oh, shit, I got to sell my car.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. And then what'd you do with the money? Bought leads?
I dumped it all in leads.
Yeah. How long did it take? Because you went from being on the phone to where, you were nervous, couldn't book an appointment. How long did it take for you to get comfortable on the phone?
It took me a little longer than most people, I feel like. I struggled a lot on the phone at the beginning. Dial days for me were the worst days. I'd rather be in the field because I could just like door knock. I remember the first policy I ever sold was in Hartford on like a Saturday, and I was like, I just sold a $40 policy. I got this. I was so happy.
That was your first one?
First one ever.
How long were you with us before you sold your first policy?
Probably a couple months.
Really?
Yeah. It was
so you went
tough.
a few months, you're not making any money because it's commission-based sales, right? And then had you already left your job at that point?
Yes.
Yeah. So no job, no sales for a few months, but you kept pushing.
Yeah.
Why?
Now that I think about it, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
What was I going to do? Quit? Cry?
I
Go
mean,
back
it wasn't
to my
working,
pals?
right? Well, a lot of people do.
Yeah, no, I've never been a quitter. If it's
Yeah.
one thing, even coming from, a different country, my parents, I mean, how can I quit when they've worked that hard to
Right, you've seen what
make
they've
it,
gone
yeah.
through, so you're like, the people just tell me, no, I can
Not
figure this
really an
out.
option in our family.
Yeah. Well, what would you say the biggest thing you struggled with on the phone?
Tonality.
Okay.
And speaking too fast.
Yeah.
And being nervous. But once, obviously, you can only mess up for so long. After a while, you're just like, all right, there's only so many objections and so many times people could, tell you to fly a kite or do whatever. Eventually, there's always going to be people who always need it and are all about the yes. So you just have to take those. My mentality about the business is when you're on a high wave, just feed off of that. When you're on a low, learn from the low. Yeah. Even for me, I'll have, 60 families helped in 1 month. Next month, you go down to like 35. It is what it is. It's work. Mentality is huge. And I just feel like you need to be able to be disciplined and controlling and have the mindset to be able to handle your personal life and be a business, because it's not easy for.
Did you struggle with that at all, juggling both?
In the beginning, yeah.
It's hard because you went from always having a job where, like, you clock in, you do what you're supposed to do. Like at the bank, you're under their control pretty much, right? Yeah. They tell you what time to take lunch, what time to do this. You got to check. Here, it's like you're your own boss. It's your own schedule. Yes, you have an upline, a manager, something, but a lot of times they're not going to call you. Go, hey, Afro, are you dialing today? Like, why aren't you? Like, you're on your own. So it's easy to kind of let that stuff seep in. How did you learn how to manage that?
I kind of hated my life being at the bank. Okay. I remember I had just bought a nice new BMW, and I remember staring at the window, just waiting to just drive my car. I'm like, I just want to be outside already. Yeah. On my lunch breaks, I used to not even eat. I used to just sit outside just to get some sunlight. And I remember how caged in I felt being at the bank and not having any control of my life, my schedule. I'm very, very involved in my nephew's life since he was a baby. Yeah. And I just remember being like, I just want to pick up Jaden from school, whatever the case was. And being home or working for myself and now doing telesales, I dial from home, go to the office. When I just feel like I don't have any more dials in me, I'm like, I remember how caged in you. If you work this hard for someone to make such a small amount of money, do this for yourself and your family.
Yeah. That's huge because a lot of people do forget where they came from many levels. Number one, what they used to do. And also, a lot of times they forget what it was like to struggle early on, too. Like, and this will help you, like, when you're recruiting, dealing with new agents, because sometimes, a veteran agent may not have patience for the new agent, but, like, dude, you were in the same spot. You used to struggle. You used to call leads and not book appointments. You used to go out and not close. So have a little bit of patience and remember where you came from. But on both fronts, like, to your point, you used to be caged in. Now you're not. Don't take that for granted, right? That first policy, you remember that vividly?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. How'd you feel leaving that house?
I was so ecstatic. Yeah. I felt like I had done the biggest thing of my
This
life.
was like building up for months.
Yes, and it was a $40 policy. And I remember I wrote her mutual because I think that was like the only carrier I had at the time.
Yeah.
And I couldn't even find my login. So I had to call mutual, change my phone number to be able to log in, change my password. And the poor woman just waited for me. I was probably in the house for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So embarrassing.
Wow.
But yeah.
Yeah.
And after that, I just kind of, it went up from there. Thank God.
Yeah. Leaving that, was it like, all right, I can do this? Like, even though I've been
Yeah.
struggling for months, but I can actually do this.
I feel like that was the door opening for me and just being like, all right, I can do this.
Yeah. And then what's been your best month so far? I know you helped 61 last month. Was that?
I think that was the best
It was
month.
the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy going from months without selling to now helping 60 in a month.
I know. It's scary.
Yeah. You've had some death claims, right?
Yeah.
Is there one that sticks out as like most important, most impactful? Or?
Two.
Two,
My
okay.
first one ever was the most for me. And then another one, I had an older woman. She was probably like 81 when I wrote her. It was a door knock. I remember I had dialed the daughter and she had cursed me out on the phone.
Yeah.
I put the lead away for like, I think 2 months, and I called it back 2 months later. She was like, yes, I need it for my mother. She's 81. Please come over. You know, I had wrote on.
Same girl that cursed you out.
Yes, I had wrote on the lead, cursed me out, do not call back. And I was in a mood that day. I was like, I'm going to doubt her. I did. And she was like, yes, come over. I was like, oh my God. So I remember I showed up to the house and they were all there, the whole family. And I was like, this doesn't ever happen. I sold them. I sold her a Miracle. She was a little bit older and she had some health issues. And her daughter called me and she was like, hey, Aphrodite, my mother has passed away. But I remember when I wrote her, she started crying. And she was like,
the daughter or the mother?
The mother.
Really?
And she was older, so I felt so bad. I remember getting up like mid-application, I gave her a hug. And it was probably almost like 9:30 p.m. when I left their house. It was winter.
Yeah.
And I just left the house and just remembering why I did it. So when she passed away, I feel like I definitely had a huge impact on me just because the way she made me feel. And she thanked me before I left the house. She was like, you've changed my life. She was like, I'm 81. I've never had a policy before. This is huge for me. She made me cry. It was crazy.
That's crazy. Your first one, how long were you in the business before you got your first claim?
Like 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was that like?
He was a guy in Massachusetts. He had been probably sold about 6 policies before I got there, all under the wrong date of birth.
Really?
And he was so against insurance. He was like, I don't want this. I don't know why you're in my house.
Yeah.
His son was there. He was like, all right, be nice to the girl. Don't be so mean. He left, went to work. And finally he showed me all his paperwork. I was like, I can't help you if you don't allow me to. I was like, show me what you have. If I can't help you, great, I'll leave. But at least I'm not leaving without trying.
Right.
And he was like to me, you know what, you're crazy, but I'll show you. So he finally showed me all the paperwork. I wrote him Aetna. He got approved, day 1 coverage. And 6 months later, his son texts me. He goes, hey, I remember your name is Afro. He was like, my dad passed away. He got hospitalized. And before he was like, he's dead.
Wow.
And I was like, it was my first death claim ever.
What did you think when you got that text?
I was in the field and I got the text while I was driving.
Yeah.
I pulled over and I called him and he was at work and I was like, why didn't you tell me? He was like, he passed away like a week ago. He was like, I just remembered I showed up at the house. He was like, but I had your card. He was like, I don't even have the policy. Does he still have a policy? I looked it up. He still had Aetna. I got the policy paid out. My upline and I were on the phone. And when he got paid out, he texted me. He was like, this has been the biggest help of my entire life. He was like, thank you for all your support. I sent flowers and a card to the family.
Yeah.
I helped them with everything. I didn't allow them to take care of anything. I did everything for them. And at the end, he was like, thank you so much. He was like, we actually want to use you for policy. So I got him and his wife a policy.
Wow. That's awesome.
So it pays off.
Yeah. How did that change your mindset moving forward?
At the end of the day, this is why we do this.
Yeah.
It's great being able to take care of the family, my family the way I do, take care of the families. But at the end of the day, being there and having a heart and making sure that they actually get paid out is why we actually do this.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's like it makes it real. Like, it's one thing for me to tell you, hey, Afro, my death claim, like, you're listening, but until you live it and experience it yourself, it's hard to fully understand it. Not that you can, obviously you help families. It's not that you can't, but I feel like there's like a switch that happens.
It changes everything. It makes it real.
Yeah. Because now like, at least for me, once I had my first death claim, I pushed a lot harder in houses. I don't say I cared more, but I cared more. I did, because now I'm like, it's already happened, so I know that it could happen to you. So if I don't do my job, I'm leaving you unprotected. It's hard to explain that to someone who's not lived through it. But to your point, it's why we do what we do.
1,000,000%.
Now, so you started with us 22. You were still in home. Now are you doing telesales?
All telesales.
All telesales. What was that transition like for you?
Rough.
Really?
Rough. I always had the mindset that I never wanted to do telesales because for me, dial days were difficult.
Yeah.
I hated dialing. I'd be like, I just want to get out of the office. I'd rather be in the fields. So for me, being like, I have to dial every day just sounded insane. I was not about it. Very ignorant at the time, let me say.
So did you fight it for a while?
Yes, for a very long time.
Yeah.
But then the lead system and being in the field got difficult, very expensive.
Yeah.
And I was, running New Haven County in Hartford. I was leaving the house like 8 a.m. and I probably wasn't getting home till like 9:30, 10. The grind was real. And once I was in the field, I couldn't do anything else. It was kind of like you have to be out here. Right. You have appointments booked. They no-show you whatever you need to door knock. There was days where I wasn't even eating. It was rough. I felt like I was living in my car. And everybody started switching to telesales. And I was buying 1-month-old leads from the ILC. It kind of changed. Like the lead system wasn't there anymore. So I just dove in once again.
Yeah.
Literally, I went from being full-time in from in-home to just in a matter of a week. I called the guy. I was like, hey, I need leads. We're just going to do this.
Yeah.
And Marissa was like, why do you always do this? I was like,
this is how I do it. What was the first time dialing on telesales or dialing for telesales? What was that like?
So the first week I ever started dialing, I think I sold like 10 policies.
Really?
Yeah, I did pretty well. And then for like 2 months after that, I probably didn't sell jack.
Really? What
it's
happened?
I don't know. I don't know what happened. I just maybe my script was way too long.
Yeah.
And
so you had appointments, you just weren't closing them.
No, it was hard. I was doing way too much.
Yeah.
Like I was just complicating it so much about the social and the banking. So I was like, these people don't see me. They're not going to give me this information. And I was kind of getting in my head too much. People were hanging up on me. Policies weren't getting paid. I was struggling. And even like November and December were like my worst 2 months in business ever. Like terrible. I probably helped like 5 families.
Really?
I also had a lot going on, like with family. I got sick. I had a couple deaths in my own family, so it just kind of like downhill. And then January came, I started doing vet leads. And by the time I went to convention, I had helped 51 families that month.
Wow.
From like 5.
During that time when you were struggling, did that thought of quitting into your head again or no?
No. So what I did was, because I was really bad at tracking my book of business, I called my upline. I was like, what should I do? She was like, go through all your laps and all your carriers.
Okay.
See who is not on the books. Call those people and try to get them back on the books.
Yeah.
So for those 2 months that I was truly struggling, I just went back to my book of business. I tried getting as many as I could back. I took that income that I got, and then I bought the new veteran leads.
Got it.
Same thing like the beginning all over again.
Yeah.
A year later, which was crazy.
Wow. So how long did it take you to get comfortable in telesales? A few months?
Yeah, I'll say at least a couple months for sure.
Yeah. So now you're 100% telesales. That month when you helped 60 families, that was all over the phone.
All on the phone, yeah.
Yeah. Looking back now, like, how do you feel going through where you were at that point where you're like, I can't do this, to then I can, and then kind of had the same thing again with telesales, but looking back on your journey so far, how do you feel?
I feel like with me personally, because obviously, it's hard for anyone. If you start a restaurant business, no matter what you do in life, it's hard.
Yeah.
Making is hard, failing is hard.
Yeah.
Just like they say. But for me personally, the one thing I have always been is discipline. On my worst days, no one can ever take it away from me. I grind hard. I'm consistent and I don't quit. Like, even on my worst days, I will be like, okay, I dialed today. I made it through. It is what it is.
Yeah.
And tomorrow's a new day.
Right. And this business can be a roller coaster, right? There's highs, there's lows, and I
1,000,000%.
think everyone struggles with a different part of it. Some people, the highs they can't manage, they get too up there, and then all of a sudden they fall off, or the lows they get so down they get
In your
depressed, and
head.
everything is horrible. Which one did you struggle with more, the highs or the lows?
I feel like, because obviously I've had a lot of lows.
Yeah.
I've been through a lot just in general in my life. I take care of most people in my family.
Mhm.
I've raised a child, all that good stuff. But I feel like when you're low, this is kind of how I view it. Mindset is everything. At the end of the day, you can't quit. You're not just going to give up. One way or another, you have to make it. So the most dangerous place to be at is your own head. So
Yeah.
I don't get in there. And just disciplines. It's hard. It's very, very difficult on your worst days. But if you stay consistent, I always say the good is the good and the bad is the bad, but nothing will ever last. So when it's bad, it's going to end.
Yeah.
When it's good, ride the high as much as you can and be consistent, because when the lows hit, you're going to be ready for that low.
Yeah. So you're ready for it before it happens.
That's what it is.
Yeah. How do you get out of there mentally? What do you do specifically?
I just stay consistent. For me
Yeah.
personally, I've always been an early bird. I wake up early. I go to the gym. I either go for a walk. I clear my head before all the calls and the craziness starts. I like time for myself. I just kind of take a drive. By the time I get out of the gym, the sauna, I journal every 5-minute journal book at the convention, which has changed my life.
Yeah.
I'm very consistent. And if I'm ever having a bad day, even if my nephew's at school, which I don't know if I should be saying this, but I'll text him, I'll be like, JJ, I'm having a bad day. He'll be like, he's 13. He's
Yeah.
incredible. And he'll be like, okay, you're done complaining? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, what'd you teach me? Keep going. I'm just like, oh.
Nice.
So it's like you can't fail if you have a 13-year-old kid.
Right.
And he'll go to the gym with me at 5 a.m.
Really?
He'll text me at 4:45, like, are you on your way? And I'm like, no, I'm getting dressed, you little psycho. So it's like he won't let me fail.
Yeah. Well, that's key. I mean, it's your nephew, but everyone should have someone that they can reach out. And in this business, I don't say it's easy, but there's a lot of people doing the same thing. So you can find someone to kind of lean on, right?
Always.
And I think that, I bet that's what helped you a lot, is having this office here coming. Because imagine how it would have been if you didn't have an office to come to. You didn't have people to sit down in front of and listen, watch them dial, watch them do what you're trying to learn how to do.
I wouldn't have made it ever if I had not went to an office.
Yeah.
I would have been, quite honestly, just watching other people do it, fail the way you're failing it, or make it. It's like, okay, this can be real. Or everybody else is going through the same thing. Because even when I dial from home now, I dedicate at least 2 days a week going to the office.
Really?
I have to, because it's like, being in the house is nice, but it's easy if you're having 2 or 3 bad dial days to get in your head, be like, you know what, I don't want to dial anymore.
Yeah.
But if you're in the office, everyone is kind of keeping everybody else accountable.
Right. It's harder to live in that low when there's other people around.
Yeah.
Like we didn't have telesales back when I sold, but we had our dial days. And I remember coming in, and you'd get there, and somehow Sean already had 10 appointments. Like, dude, you just started down. But you fed off of it though, because you're like, well, shit, I only have 4. He's got 10. Oh wait, so and so's got 8. And if you were struggling, and I saw, or if I'm struggling, I see you having success, it helped my belief levels. I'm like, well, shit, she's doing it, so I can figure it out, or I can get back on it. And I think that sometimes that gets lost with everything going virtual, right? Like, oh, I just get on Zoom. Yeah, but it's different.
Yeah.
It's different to come in person. And why? I know we're all just telesales now, but just come to the office. And I mean, these lock-ins. Were you at the lock-in a couple weeks back? Oh, yeah. What was that like?
Everyone was here. It was great, just having everybody around. 2 new agents actually came in the office and watched me dial.
Yeah.
My first dial I made, the guy cursed me out, and I was like, this is what it looks like.
Yeah.
Second dial, the guy picked up and I sold him A to Z. So it was nice, because they were like, okay, this is real. Like, she just got cursed out.
Yeah.
And now she just sold the policy in 40 minutes, locked it in. The guy's happy. Life's good.
Yeah.
So it's nice, because now I feel like, well, I have to show to them how it's done. So now I'm working a little bit harder. I'm a little more focused, and they get to see firsthand what it's really like. Because you could watch me fail or make it on Zoom all day, every day.
Right.
But if you don't hear me, muted and saying a few curse words to kind of get life back together, it's like it's when it gets real.
Yeah. And how cool is that? You went from being someone who couldn't book an appointment, couldn't sell for 3 months. Now people are coming in to watch you close appointments.
It's crazy.
Yeah. It happens fast.
Fast.
But
And
it's like you said,
scary.
you can't quit. You got to keep pushing through. And I always say this business it's not easy, but it is simple.
Yes.
It's simple. Like, it ain't rocket science.
No.
We're not. I mean, it's not nursing. You're not drawing blood and everything else. This is like you're on the phone calling people. Yeah, like if you don't do your job, someone doesn't have life insurance, but there's plenty of people out. There's plenty of leads. It's not life or death. It's not rocket science. It is very simple. Are you recruiting?
I'm working on recruiting now. I feel like I've been really bad with it.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, 'cause I'm like, I have so many people who follow me, and I feel like if I wasn't, because I'm not transparent enough with how much we can, do in this company, and how much, the freedom that you can have being with your family, things like that. And I feel like I'm not good at sharing that opportunity with people. I feel like people always like, oh, salesperson, no one wants to, but I was once that person.
Yeah.
So I have to be better at that. I have a couple agents under me right now, a couple friends, and I'm trying to build from there.
Getting going. Well, for anyone watching who's not with us and wants to join you, what social media platform are you on mostly? What's your handle?
Instagram.
Okay.
I use Instagram a lot.
What's your name on Instagram?
Aphrodite_222.
All right, there you go. Well, if you want to follow Aphrodite, there you have it. We like to wrap up, Afro, with some stuff that has nothing to do with life insurance. So I'm going to throw a couple random questions at you.
Let's do it.
Feel free to answer.
Okay.
Are you a movie person? Are you a music person?
I don't really watch movies
too
much.
So we won't ask those. All right, let's just go off the cuff. Do you have any hidden talents that would shock everybody here?
I have some, I would say, hobby, like some very into cars.
Okay.
I love riding motorcycles.
Really?
Yeah. I'm always in need for speed, I guess.
Nice. You said you're not a movie person, not a music person. Are you a food person?
Yeah, I like food.
All right, so we'll wrap with this. You're on death row. I don't know what you did, but for some reason you're on death row.
No way.
What's your last meal going to be?
My last meal? Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I would say spinacopita.
Okay, what is that? I don't even know what that is.
It is spinach and feta cheese wrapped in a little like phyllo bread thing. It's Greek, super Greek, but yeah.
Yeah, so
that's
that would be
my favorite thing.
You'd go out with that one.
Yeah, it's very simple. Yeah. But yes, I think I would.
All right, there you have it. Cool. Well, I appreciate you coming and doing this.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. You guys, thanks for joining us. Thanks for tuning in. You know where to find us every week right here on True Talk. We'll see you soon.